for now. Okay.
Thanks. 6 months ago, the Vice President was in Los Angeles when Iran conducted its first wave of strikes. And the Vice President joined virtually when she joined the National Security Team for a briefing that day. Today, she's the nominee. She was in the Situation Room. I'm just wondering if you can elaborate at all about what her engagement has been like today and what it will be like in the next 48 hours as Israel plots its response.
I mean, you just answered your own question. The Vice President joined the President today in the Situation Room as they were monitoring the situation, as the President was listening to his team and hearing feedback on what was happening on the ground. She was there. She was alongside him in getting that update, and she is many times has been in the room, or as you just said, has called in when it's come to really important, critical national security issues. And so that has been the way that they have worked together in the past 3.5 years, and that's the way it's going to continue as we work through what's next.
Does it make any difference, though, participating virtually versus being here in person today?
No, I wouldn't say there's a difference. The point is she's in the room, she's side by side with the President, she's getting an update from the National Security Team and others that is part of his team on these important issues as we talk about foreign policy and what's going on in the world. She's part of it. She's there. She was there for a majority of the time that the President was in the Situation Room today as we were watching what was occurring, and that's going to continue. Okay.
Thanks, Doreen. The President walked the picket line last year with auto workers in Michigan, which is a swing state. Why not walk the picket line here?
So look, I think the message has been really clear. It really has, on what the President wants to see. We've been very clear about making sure that there is a way that these workers get their fair pay, right? Get their wages. And the President's team has been having these conversations, Secretaries Buttigieg and also Secretary of Department of Labor and also NSC Director Lael have been having regular communications, and we've made our message really clear on collective bargaining, how important it is, and how USMX needs to come to the table and present a fair proposal to ILA. Outside of that, I don't have anything else to share, but I think we've been loud and clear on what we want to see and what we believe the workers deserve.
Has the administration been as involved in this strike as it was during the UAW strike?
So let's not forget there's been multiple strikes, right, over the last 3.5 years, and we've been pretty consistent and pretty steady. The President has been called the most pro-union president in modern history, if you will. And so we have delivered our message directly to USMX. We have been very, very clear. And also the other senior officials that I listed, it's been very clear. We've delivered those message, and we have been in touch with both parties. And so we're going to continue to do that. And what we want to see is collective bargaining in the best way for the workers, to make sure they get their fair pay, to make sure they get the benefits that they deserve. During the pandemic, they did the hard work. They put their lives at risk to make sure that the ports were open. And let's not forget, these executives have made record profits. And so these workers deserve an increase as well.
And quickly on the Middle East, if I may, is the U.S., bottom line, is the U.S. urging Israel to measure its response?
What I will say is what Jake Sullivan said to you all just moments ago. We're going to continue the conversations. We're going to, there will be consequences. We're going to continue to be there for Israel, help Israel defend itself. That, when it comes to Israel's security, that continues to be ironclad. I don't have anything else to share beyond that. Okay.
Thank you. Just turning back to the strike for a minute, I wanted to get a sense. You mentioned the President calls himself the most pro-union president.
Not just him.
Not just him.
Yeah, union members. Yeah.
But could you expand a little bit on his relationship with Harold Daggett, the head of the union, and also the vice president's relationship with him?
So I don't have anything to read out on their relationship or private conversations. What I can say is you have heard me say multiple times his senior officials, White House senior officials, have been in touch with both parties, and we are urging USMX to come to the table with a fair proposal. We cannot say this enough. We believe that these workers deserve a fair pay, they deserve benefits, and that meets the level of their peers. And so that's what we're going to continue to say and have those conversations. You read and saw the president's statement earlier today, and the message is going to be very, very clear here. And those conversations are continuing. I don't have a relationship to speak to. I don't have any preview to speak of at this time.
Can you say that they have actually spoken to each other, though?
I know I'm saying I don't have anything to read
that.
out. I don't have anything for you at this time.
Okay. And then just sort of related to that, you sort of made a very clear point that in the sort of immediate days here, many experts say there isn't an immediate impact that consumers will feel. But that, as you know, Harold Daggett has pointed out himself, after 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, that dynamic would change significantly. And can you say anything about how long the president is willing to wait?
So, look, a couple of things. We're going to closely monitor the situation. You heard me talk about the supply chain task force. I do want to lay out a number of our agencies. They put out assessment that showed limited impact on critical consumers' needs at this time. So on energy, for example, from the Department of Energy, the strike will not have any immediate impact on fuel supplies or prices. On food, from the Department of Agriculture, we should not expect a significant changes to food prices or availability in the near term. On medicine, from the Department of Health and Human Services, immediate impacts across medicines, medical devices, and infant formula for consumers, parents, and caregivers should be limited. But of course, we're going to closely monitor this and any potential supply chain impacts. Look, and we have this task force. This task force came into play, obviously, during the pandemic to deal with this situation that we were dealing with because of a once-in-a-century pandemic. And so they're going to monitor it very closely. And so what we're going to continue to do is be very clear on our message to USMX. They got to come forward with a fair proposal that is fair to the workers. And so that is our message. And they are hearing that from senior officials from the White House. Okay.
I have two questions regarding Africa. For Angola, President Biden is traveling to Angola, as you mentioned. Could you provide, there are 54 countries on the continent, and as well as other leaders from the administration have traveled over there. What is your message to other African nations, as well as the African Union?
I would say that the president traveling to the continent sends a positive message to other nations. I know you're asking me about other countries, but the president's going. No, but the president's going to the continent. I think. Wait, but the president, and you just mentioned too in your question that other officials have gone to other countries in the continent, right? And so, if anything, you have seen our commitment to building on that relationship with those countries in the continent. As it relates to Angola, he's going to have bilateral meetings there. He's going to have multilateral meetings as well to discuss increased collaboration on shared priorities. And let's not forget the PGI, an initiative that this president started. That's going to be Africa's first transcontinental open access rail network. That's going to start there. So I think if you think about it, what the president has done this past 3.5 years, going to Angola, is a connecting factor in this key initiative, the PGI. Right? We're talking about a historic effort in this open access rail network, and so that's going to be a big deal for everyone, every country in the continent. And so, if anything, this shows the president's commitment. And he said he was going to go. He's keeping that commitment. But it's not just that. He wants to make sure that we're advancing cooperation with the continent when it comes to the economy. right, when it comes to technology. And so that's what you're going to see from this president.
My other question is, today is Nigeria's Independence Day. Do you guys have any remarks or any statements?
I will talk to the National Security Council. I don't have anything to share with you at this time. Okay, all right. Go ahead, back in the back. Yeah, yeah.
Ahead of tonight's debate between J.D. Vance and Tim Walz, there are reports that VA staffers have accessed their medical records at the VA.
Would you say that one more time? I missed that.
Okay. There are reports that VA staffers have accessed the medical records of J.D. Vance and Tim Walz, as there's rising interest in them as part of the election. Is that acceptable?
There are medical records that were accessed
by VA staffers
on
their medical records when they were
of J.D. Vance
and Tim Walz.
Okay.
Is that acceptable for this?
This is the first I'm hearing about this, so I have to get some more information on that. This is literally the first time I'm hearing about this. So let me get back to you because I need to get the full context of that question. All right, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you.